Good afternoon. It is Monday, and we're here for another Chamber member connection. I'm Eric Knowles, president of the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce. Excited about our guest today. But before we get started, let's hear a word for one of our supporters of the Chamber, Jackson Health Systems.
My name is Amber Longhorn, and I am the Director of Jackson Health Systems Small Business Enterprise Program. Jackson is proud to partner with the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce in bringing you this video series. We hope you'll gain valuable information and tools on doing business in Miami-Dade County, but especially with Jackson Health System. We invite you to visit us online for more information at www.jacksonsmallbusiness.org.
Mrs. Dionne Polite. It is so good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you as well, my friend.
You know, in these crazy times where we don't get to see one another and we know all this Zooming and virtual meetings and et cetera, et cetera, it is good to see you. And thank you so much. You know, you're with AARP. What did they say? One of the big honchos over there.
Yes. Well, no. I thought you meant AARP itself.
No,
AARP, the
no,
enterprise.
no, you, the big
I'm just a
honcho.
humble servant, brother. Just a humble servant.
But you know, we truly, I'm trying to get my watch party started here to make sure that we get some other folks on, and in Facebook land. So again, really appreciate you and the relationship we have built with ARP. You have been doing so much with us. Our men's conversations that we've had, and everything else that you do to support the chamber. You know, it is truly appreciated. Um, but before we can get into that, let's the folks know who Miss Dionne Polite is.
Again, I said I'm just a humble servant, but and I pride myself on being a faithful and humble servant. But in my role at AARP, I'm the director of state operations, and basically that means I oversee outreach and engagement for the state of Florida, managing this team of associate state directors that engage in communities all across the state. We're charged with not only making sure that members feel a connection to AARP, but also building relevant interactions and initiatives that resonate with all people, those that are members, which means they're 50 or older, or those that are thinking about becoming members, and that's anybody in their 30s, 40s. We sort of cultivate those relationships almost like dating. We wink at them, we nudge them a little bit every now and again, and then on their 50th birthday they get a card. So we want to, we are intentional with building sort of familiarity with the organization, so it doesn't hit them as a shock when they get the card in the mail.
Yeah, that can be a little shocking. It's like, oh boy.
Well, and it can be, it to me, it's about perception, right?
Right.
Because there are many people that look forward to it. Usually in Anglo communities, they are ready for their ARP membership. They've heard about it, they know about it, they get it, they understand the benefits of becoming a member. But in multicultural communities, it's a bit more of a challenge, largely because we don't really look our age, right?
Right.
So when we get to be 50, we still, hanging tight, looking 30s, 40s, and how dare AARP put something in the mail addressed to, an individual that's 50 pretending that they're 40.
Right.
And so it becomes a reality check. I remember before I moved to Florida 5 years ago, I was in New York working with AARP. And I remember an individual said to me, an older black man, I say older black man, I mean, he looked really great. And then he said to me, "Who told you you could bring me out the closet?" And I was like, "What?" And he said, "Who told you, or whomever it is at AARP, that you could take me out the closet?" I said, "I don't know. You're gonna have to simplify it for me. What do you mean?" And he said, "Well, I got a card in the mail." I said, "Oh wow, that's awesome." He said, "No, it's not." He said, "My girl didn't know nothing about, that I was AARP eligible." I said, "Well, that's another problem that you have. You know, we're trying to make your life right, and you're doing what you're doing. That's not my fault."
Right,
I,
right.
it is it's a challenge, but it's something I think. There's somebody that said, aging is a gift that not many people are afforded to get.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. That's like when we're talking about aging, and one of my younger friends, he saw a post on Facebook the other day, and his comment was, it was several of us, our good friend Bill Diggs,
Uh-huh.
I believe Dexter might have been in that shot, but anyway, there were several of us in the shot, and he
Uh-huh.
made a comment, "Old heads." And my response to him, keep living, young blood.
Hello, hello, old but not cold. Okay, so
Right,
there's that.
exactly. And to your point, many folks don't get to the privilege of making it to 50. And
Mhm.
so, obviously that's not what this conversation is about. This conversation is about the benefits and what it means to be an AARP member. Because I know you have a lot of great benefits, discounts at restaurants, et cetera, et cetera. So tell us a little bit about that, the benefits of
Sure.
being members of AARP.
Sure. So there are tons and tons of benefits, right? So the basic stuff would be the discounts that people get at, whether they're renting a car, or booking a room at a hotel, or for their AAA, or if they want to go eat at Bonefish Grill or some of the other restaurants. There's a discount. It varies, from about 15 to about 25% off you get on several of those different establishments. Discounts on your phones, and I mean anything that you can think of. And that's a part of AARP's. Let me start with this. So AARP is an enterprise, so there's several different areas within AARP, the enterprise. I'm a part of states and communities, which means that we work in communities, engaging members and communities at large in the work that we're doing at AARP. But there's also AARP Foundation, that's the charitable arm of the organization. There's the Legal Rights for the Elderly. It's another organization that works on, it's a charitable organization. It works on legal aid for the elderly, making sure that older folk get representation when they need it. There is we have a policy institute. Of course, we have the magazine. We have driver safety, which are classes that people can take to get the cost of their insurance down. Driver safety is also in place to help people that may have to have conversations with their loved ones, older loved ones, when the time comes to take away the keys. That's a reality. And sometimes people want to hold on to their car keys because to them it's a way to gauge their level of independence.
Right.
So there's that aspect, and then there's tax aid to help people of a certain income get their taxes done for free. They're all and the AARP magazine, which is the most read magazine in the world for people 50 and older. This month's issue features Viola Davis looking fabulous in red. And then there are the things that we do in the states. Each state has different areas that they focus on, but overall it's about health and wealth and self. And for us here in the state of Florida, there's a big focus on financial literacy, making sure folks know how to avoid fraud. There's a big focus on health and wellness, and underneath that health and wellness umbrella is caregiving. Um, because quite frankly, either at some point in our all of our lives, either we're going to be cared for or we're going to be caring for someone. And sometimes it's a loved one, sometimes it's a sibling, sometimes it's the church mother, sometimes it's the neighborhood person, whether it is that an individual collects from the pantry food to bring to somebody that's ill. All of that falls underneath the caregiving umbrella. And and then we have an initiative that was focused around a book that our CEO wrote called Disrupt Aging, A Bold New Path to Living Your Best Life at Every Age. And we here in Florida do a lot of work around disrupt aging, largely because in certain parts of the state, and I'm particularly South Florida, um, we live differently than others do in other parts of the state. So there is this, you know, living la vida loca, you know, just this viva life kind of thing that is a part of the South Florida flavor. And so there are conversations that take place about embracing living your best life, in embracing aging. And so that's another important component around what we do at AARP. We also engage in what we call livable communities, ensuring that people can age in place. So where they are, they feel comfortable, that they feel safe, that they can, they're mobile, you know. So whether they're, you know, up and about and they still run, that they have sidewalks where they can run, or running paths, or if they bike, that they have bike paths. If it is that they're, you know, having some mobility issues, that they're able to roll their whatever it is that they use for assistance, they were able to roll and do whatever it is that they need to do to continue to live. It is important for us, and we're charged with this task of making sure that people understand that indeed aging is a privilege, and you know, you need to enjoy it. We want to make sure that people know and grow, feel empowered and educated to live their best life possible, whatever that looks like for them.
No, that's great. You know, um, as you said, here we are in South Florida. We got beautiful weather. There's so much we can do. Whereas up north, you're locked up in your house. But even with that, I know you all are engaged with everybody up north and probably giving them a plethora of information on what they need to be doing, as you know, they're locked. The winter season is in New York and everywhere else up north. But living in South Florida, definitely, obviously, you know, a lot of people when they retire, they come to South Florida, they come to Florida, period. So I'm sure Florida is a big market for you. And as you said, we're living our best life. I mean, people now, you know, up into their 50s, 60s, and 70s. I mean, they're riding bikes, they're roller skating, they're still out dancing, they're out fishing, they're doing a number of things. So
Right.
that information that you all provide is very vital. And you know, as I was saying, I was sharing this on Facebook, so I have a number of my classmates that I see that joined in. I want to shout them out. This isn't something I've ever done, but anyway, I'm gonna do it now. So Charmaine and Hardin Weech, they jumped on. I'm sure there are others that are on. So I want to
All
say,
right.
but one of your favorite people, she just said, "Hey, Erica's on from Germany." So
Oh my goodness. She is indeed. She is my adopted daughter. And I share her with you.
yeah,
Um, and yeah, I'm sending her my love. I hope all is well there. It's
yeah,
it's chilly there for her, so
yeah,
you
Germany.
know she still has that thin South Florida blood.
Yeah, yeah, but she's doing great. But you know, AARP, how long has it been around?
60 years. We celebrated 60 years this year. Yeah. So
Okay.
it was started by a woman who was an educator, Dr. Ethel Percy Andrus, and there's a story behind it. And in essence, she went looking for a friend who had retired like she had, and when she went to the home where she thought the friend resided, it turned out not to be where she lived, but instead she lived in a place behind the house. And when she went back there, it was actually a chicken coop that somebody had converted. So a woman who was a teacher educating young people was resorted back to living in a you know, a refurbished chicken coop. And she
Wow.
was so incensed by the idea of that she started what was then called the American Association for Retired Persons, and now we're just AARP, just the acronym AARP. But it was started by an educator who who thought it, unjust to see a fellow educator living in such a manner. And I'm one of the things I'm proud of with the organization, because it's that humanity is a big deal. And humanity is an important component to how we deal with individuals, and a main focus of why we want to make sure that we're present, why we want to make sure that people understand what they need to know in order to grow, no matter your age, because there's always an opportunity. I shared with somebody recently something I used to say in New York all the time, and I now realize I'm saying it in Florida, which is from 1 to 50 is when you're learning, and from 50 on is when you're living. And getting people to understand that this gift that we have of life, it is to be lived, and to be lived well. And the first couple of years is really real. It's like riding a bike. We learn what tricks we can do on the bike. We learn what to avoid, what pit stops, when to turn around so we don't fall into a hole. Those are all things that we learn, and then we get to a certain stage in our lives where we get it, and it helps us really enjoy this gift, right? Whether it's enjoy making sure that we keep our bodies healthy, because this is our temple, right? So we keep our bodies healthy. We want to keep our brains fit. All those things matter. We want to make sure that the homes that we live in are fit for us,
Right.
no matter what stage we're in.
It's an interesting conversation. Obviously, I just turned 65, and
I'll be 60 in January.
so we talk about living. A lot of people, they retire in their 50s and some in their 60s, and I'm one of those individuals. I enjoy what I do, and I'll probably be working into my 70s. I mean, I'm healthy. I don't have any
Yes.
issues. So, the one thing that you all do, and actually, I believe when we first met, you all do a lot of outreach in the community. And at the time, um, you all were doing having gatherings where you were bringing people together. You were showing movies, you were sponsoring movies for people to come to, and then you would have a conversation about the movie and what was happening, the dynamics in there. Since the pandemic has hit, COVID-19, what has been the shift for AARP?
So we did a complete pivot at the end of February when COVID hit, right? So we went from doing everything in person to everything being virtual. So all of the different things that we did, actually even more now, we're doing a lot more now and offering a lot more in the virtual world. So we have cooking classes, we have crafting events, we have book clubs, we have gardening shows where people can learn about gardening and how to grow whatever. We have movies for grown-ups, we have screenings. We've partnered with cultural centers and offered concerts, virtual concerts. In South Florida, there's so many incredible celebrities that live in South Florida. And we have the opportunity to partner with Albida, who is a very well-known Cuban artist. And so we had a live concert with Albida for a number of months in uh, I would say the summer, but we have year-round summer. But a number of months ago, we had DJs playing old school music, and old school meaning like, music from the 70s and 80s and 90s. And, so we had DJs playing live music, and you could get up and dance. We had yoga classes. We still have them. We have um, exercises that, fitness classes that are going on. We have information sessions with experts to talk about when it was during the election time, to talk about, how to cast your vote, the safety measures you need to have in place in order to make sure you remain healthy as you do your American duty. We have an assortment of offerings, and they remain so, right? So we'll pretty much be virtual until um, after the first quarter of 2021. And as a part of being virtual, we as staff, excuse me, were mandated to make that switch. So everything is virtual, and there's a you can go to the website www.aarp.org/South Florida, and see all of the. We have a virtual library, so you can see all of the offerings that are available that you can look at your leisure. We recently, during Thanksgiving weekend, had a film festival, the first AARP Family and Faith Film Festival, where viewers, and you don't necessarily, you didn't need to be a member, you just needed to sign up, and viewers were able to screen over 23 video, not videos, movies from around the world. And that was a really beautiful experience. And I think that is not, I think, I know that that's something that we'll continue to do, because the feedback from that has been really powerful. It gave people a chance to, even though we were shut down, to be able to enjoy great movies that are current. It was hosted by Gina Neely from the Neelys, from the Cooking Neelys, and Kevin Sorbo, who is Hercules. And it was just a great opportunity for people to sit down with their families in their safe space and enjoy movies.
Right. So, again, we're talking about AARP. We're talking about those individuals who hit 50 and beyond. And one of the things that you do, a lot of people, they pivot, they find their second career. So
Mhm.
how do you all engage with that?
So you're right. So people, at this age, I agree with you when you talked about earlier about, working until you're 70 something. I'm the same way. I feel that that will be my journey as well. So we, through the foundation, there's something called Work After 50 or Work at 50 Plus. And what that does is it allows people um, to register to work in a nonprofit area, um, bringing the expertise that they have in order to continue to be, vital and be contributing. There's also, we work with Encore, and so there are adult internships that folk can get to participate in all different levels. And there's also fellowships. There are also fellowships that people can register to become a part of an organization as a fellow, bringing the expertise that they have. And there's also Experience Corps, which is an opportunity for retired teachers to come back into the educational system and share, the experience that they've had over the years of being teachers or in the educational system.
No, that's important. I really feel that, it's important that people stay active, stay engaged. If you, hey, they say if you don't use it, you lose it.
Yes, that's the truth. That is the truth. We do a lot around brain health, and talking to people about Alzheimer's and dementia, which are two brain health conditions. And one of the things that I've learned is that the brain is actually a muscle, and if you don't exercise that muscle, it loses its elasticity, and you lose different components of what the brain is set to do. So, we want to continue to encourage people. If you feel that you still have more to give, I'm going to cough again, excuse me. If you feel that you have more to give, by all means, be a part of something. We also have an unbelievable volunteer corps. And volunteers really are the foundation of the work that we do at AARP. Um, Many of our initiatives are staff led but volunteer driven. The work that we do in advocacy, we're that 800-pound gorilla in the room, making sure that legislators understand that the needs and the interests of their constituents are the priority, and especially those that are 50 and older, not the other way around. They're not going to tell us what they're going to do. We're going to tell them what it is
Right.
that we need them to do. And so, ARP allows folk to have a voice and to be able to take steps to ensure that that things go the way that they want them to go, that they plan to have them go, that that they've wished for, that they've hoped for, that they've worked for, that they've rallied for, that some people have fought for. All of those things matter. I don't know why I'm getting a tickle in my throat at this time, but I'm gonna have to cough again.
It happens when you.
Huh?
I say that's when it happens.
Yes, I know, I know. I could chat all. There's something I want to share that I think is really eye opening, and it's a couple of statistics, and I'm going to read them. And the first one is here in the U.S., 10,000 people a day are turning 65. That's a trend that's going to continue for the next 10 years. Over the next 2 decades, the number of people aged 65 and older will nearly double to more than 72 million, or 1 in 5 Americans. By 2050, people 60 and older will outnumber children 15 and under for the first time in history. And then the last one is the fastest growing age group are people 85 and older. And the second fastest are people that are 100 years old and older.
Wow.
So, we're getting there. We're getting there. There is earlier in the year, I gifted my team with a cookbook called the Blue Zone Cookbook. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
I haven't heard of
It's a book that captures recipes from around the world of people that are in their 70s, 80s, 90s, and 100, 100 plus centurions. And it's what are they? It's really each individual that's covered in the book tells a story about how they live their lives. And for instance, there's a man that's 98 or 99 years old that rides his horse. He's in Spain, rides his horse every morning. He goes into town and he's got a couple of girlfriends in there that, he juggles, and he's got a routine, that's the kind of food that he eats. Largely, a lot of the people are eating sort of like the Mediterranean diet sort of thing,
Right.
or plant-based sort of diets. But, the important thing that's from all of the messages is there are a couple of things that are really important to how we're going to age. Physical health, mental health, spirituality, socialization. That's another key component. Understanding how important it is to interact with other people.
Right.
And we found that because of this shutdown, because of the pandemic, it's an even more serious challenge because so many of us are unable to interact the way we want to, the way that we've grown accustomed to. And so this is another way that AARP wants to make sure that we're ever present so that people can connect to us. And so we do classes on technology to make sure that, folks are not intimidated by pressing a button or opening up a laptop or an iPad or whatever it is to connect. We also are a part of a project called the Sunshine Project, which is where people can send out cards to folks they know or folks they don't know. Just cheery cards to say, hey, how are you? How are things going? Just a lovely gesture. We also have it too where people, and this is called the Friendly Voices Connections, where people can pick up the phone and call someone that they don't know and just engage in a conversation.
Wow.
And that's really, it's a part of what's going to heal us as we get through this pandemic.
Right. You were speaking about the aging. I have to say give honor to my paternal grandmother, who 4 years ago passed away at 104. So I pray
remember.
and trust me, she was still with us up until like maybe the last year and a half or so that she really started to deteriorate.
And she was in New York, right? She was in Harlem.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I tell you, she was still a fireball up to like 102 or so, going into 103. And we all, like I say, but for the grace of God,
Amen.
we when those young, like you said, Well, I was saying that my good friend said, "You old heads on that picture." I said, "Keep living." You know, prayerfully, one day you'll get there to be an old
Right,
head. You know,
right.
this has really been great, Dionne. I mean, just listening to all that you and AARP does. Being uh, engaged so much with so much. I mean, that's more than a plateful what you all are doing. But I know you've been engaged with the chamber for the last few years. Why is it important that you be engaged with the chamber, Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce?
Well, that's a key component to our measures of success is engaging with partners that are also, on the ground, providing information and resources and tools in the business world because, it matters. It matters the connections that you have, and I think it strengthens what we offer to our members. That you guys do incredible programming, have great opportunities for people to enhance their skill set. All of those things make you a great partner for us. Because, again, as I said, it is about connecting and building relevance. And we can do really good by ourselves, but we're a force when we work together.
Absolutely. And it truly has been a great relationship. The various things we've been doing, our men's health session that we've been doing for the last couple of years, mental health.
Yes.
We we as men want sometimes play this macho role that we're not going to the doctor when we should. We talk about colonoscopies and I ain't gonna let nobody do this or do that.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, a lot of men have died because of that. And so we have this session that you have supported and sponsored, Men's Health, and we talk about things. Our good friend Mel Roan and others, and Raul and your husband,
Yes.
we have some great conversations that we probably would not have had, but thank you for providing that platform. And I know you and I spoke about the possibility of doing something next year with women in health and mental health.
Absolutely.
We'll be working on that. I know you mentioned the month of March, possibly because that's Women's History Month.
Yes.
So I look forward to engaging with you on that and everything that we do. You make sure that the AARP is a part of what the chamber is doing. So we truly appreciate it.
I have to say that I've said this to you several times. I'm really grateful for the relationship that we've created with our mutual organizations. I think it really just allows us to make sure that people get what they need. People that look like you and I, and even those that don't, get what they need. They see us as trusted sources that can offer them the opportunity to continue to be relevant. And those things really matter. We understand about the aging process. As I said earlier, we're all going to get there if we're lucky, but we also want to make sure that you make the best of what you have.
Absolutely.
And this partnership really allows that to take place. I'm looking forward to 2021. I'm
I
looking forward
am
to
as well.
2021 for so many different reasons. I mean, one of the things that we did as a collaborative partnership was the conversation around, this pandemic, the racial injustice and unrest. Those are things you can't pretend that they don't exist. They're going on right now, and I think for men and Black men in particular, it's really good to offer folk the opportunity to share, to air, to breathe, and I think collectively we've done that, and I'm really, really proud of that work. And I thank you very much for your leadership with this partnership. It's been really, really amazing. You mentioned a couple of people that I have in my circle. My circle's real small, but you're in that circle. Dexter's in that circle. Mel is in that circle. Suzanne is in that circle. Robbie Bell is in that circle. And Donna Ginn, who was our current volunteer state president, is in that circle. Robbie Bell and Donna and I are all Link sisters. And, that in itself is a beautiful thing as well, with the work that we do with the Links too.
Absolutely. So if someone wants to get in touch with the work that you're doing, how do they do that?
Right to the website, www.aarp.org/South Florida. And you will see that there are ways in which you can reach out to me individually or anybody on my team. And we are very quick to respond, because one of the things that I take great pride in is everybody deserves to be heard, to be seen, and to be felt as though they matter. And so when somebody reaches out, we respond.
This has been a great conversation. I look forward to us doing it again. So those of you who are watching, if you want to know more about the Chamber, you can go to www.m-dcc.org, or you can call the Chamber at 305-751-8648. This has been the Chamber Connection with Ms. Dionne Polite and AARP. Dionne, thank you so much. And we'll chat as we go away. Thank you all for joining us. It's been a great day.
Thank you so much. You take care. Be well and happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
That's right. Take care.